My name is Jérôme Tollet. I'm a distinguished engineer working for Alain that you have seen before. I really want to give you an overview of what is VPP and what are the features and what you can expect from it. Here is the agenda. What is vector packet processing? Why is it faster? And what are the upcoming features? So what is VPP? So it's really important to understand what it is. Actually, VPP, every word is important in this sentence, is a modular open source software designed for high-performance packet processing running under commodity CPUs. So when I mean commodity CPUs, I really mean the processors like ARM, like Intel, these kind of CPUs. And as opposed to other virtual switch, it is really designed for this category of processors. And we really want to make sure that the IOs are developed in a very fast way and processed in a very fast way to take the most of instruction cache and data cache. The other thing is modular. Modular means that you have many plugins, and it's really easy to extend the software with new plugins, so that if you want to do stateful features, DPI, whatever you want, it's really easy to extend the software without having to re-implement everything or to modify everything. So the software has been in production for years now, so it's a mature technology. It's not like a few dozens of lines of C codes which are not working. The product is really stable, really working in real life, and it has been in production since 2002. So that's mature technology. And what is very, very important is to understand that that can be seen from three different perspectives at least. One is it's a standalone solution, so you can do a Git clone, on VPP, compile it, and making run in a box to achieve functions like regular switching or different kind of tunnelings for IPv4, IPv6, transitions, or L2TP. This kind of application can be done in a standalone box. So that's the first way to see VPP. It's a product, you can deploy it. The other way to see it, it's a developer technology. It's an SDK that makes you able to develop a new product. So you have APIs, different kind of APIs, and we will go into the details about that, making you able to extend it and take benefit of this infrastructure for packet counter, for debugging. Many things are already available, so that instead of taking months or years to develop a new application, you have things which are readily working. You just have to write your code and focus on the feature you want to provide instead of rebuilding a full framework. And the last angle I like to see VPP from is it's a vSwitch designed, or vRouter designed to be integrated in an NFVI infrastructure. Okay, so as it was said before, it is currently being integrated in OpenStack. It will be integrated in a container infrastructure as well. So in that case, it's very fast networking technology for virtualized environment. So these are three different ways to see the same technology. VPP is only a project of a wider project, which is FDIO. So FIDO is designed to accelerate any kind of IOs. The first topic we have addressed is network. But in the future, we certainly want to extend that to other things, such as storage or other things. So the goal of this project is to accelerate IOs in general, not just networking, but we are starting from networking point of view. And that's why VPP is one of these projects, vector packet processing, to accelerate packet processing on regular processors. There are other projects today active. CSIT is one of them for continuous testing. Honeycomb is another one for network youngification. NSH SFC, for people who are familiar with this technology, it's for service function chaining. So this is another active project. Very interestingly, we are working on this one, TLDK, which is a transport layer. It's a new project, and it's a transport layer directly bundled into VPP. So that's very important to understand that if you have a look at the way systems are done today, you have your VIA router or vSwitch, and on top of that, you can have different applications. The more, what we believe is that in the future, we will collapse some of these layers to have faster IOs. And an example of that could be to have a TCP stack directly integrated into this VIA router or vSwitch so that container communication can be way, way faster than what we have today. So it's not just another vSwitch, it's also a new way to design application in the future and a new way to build your containerized environment in the future. So that's really where we are going to with this project. It's not just a vSwitch. But then we have more classic technologies like Lisp. Lisp is another project we are working on, for virtual for overlays. And then if you are interested in having like tiny new project, it's easy to add things through this new VPP sandbox, which is a meta project, if you will. So anyone can, upload code so that we will test it. You will be able to contribute without arriving, with a bunch of 10 engineers. So if you want to test few things quickly, this VPP sandbox is like a meta project for that. Where does that fit in the networking stack? So this slide is actually not completely correct, but you have the hardware, and then you have regular network I/O. So you probably all know about DPDK or packet, PF packet or this kind of APIs. And then on top of that, you have packet processing. What does that mean? Encapsulation, switching, all this kind of layer 2 or layer 3 processing. But what we are trying to do right now is, so it sits on top of the operating system because it works under, typically we run that under Linux or beside Linux, I would say. And what we are trying to do is to collapse some of these layers, not all of these layers, but especially what I was saying before is that we would like to have the application layer closer to this VPP layer. And you will see more and more APIs and integration scenario to make that possible and to speed up the overall data center architecture. It's a very active project, so I did a quick extract from a regular Gerrit website, and you can see the number of lines of C code and for Honeycomb, which is a management project. You can see the number of commits. So it's an active project with many developers working on it right now. But the goal of this training during this week is to extend the community and to have other people contributing to that. What are the problems we want to solve? And again, this slide have already been seen, so I will go quickly. What is very important from my standpoint is to be able to innovate more quickly than we did. I completely agree with the fact that today standardization is faster than writing software, which is very surprising. So we believe we don't have the right open source structure today to do that, and that's why FDIO makes sense. And we don't have the right software architecture to do that, and that's why VPP is here. We believe that with an open governance and with an architecture which is modular, it will make easier. It will be easier to innovate and propose new stuff for the networking community. We believe that Linux kernel is good, but it's moving very, very slowly because they have to keep compatibility with millions of applications. And that's probably not the right way to go if you want to have really fast and products and technologies. So that's why FDIO is here. And we also want to have something which is designed from inception for regular processor, not something where you can plug below ASICs. It's really for regular processor, Intel, ARM, this category of processors. So that has been designed for this category of processor since inception, which is another very important difference with other vSwitch technologies that you might have seen on the market. Okay, so what was the supported hardware today? Many of them. x86, 62, 32 bits, ARM processors, so Cavium supports that, Intel supports that, so that works pretty well. Mainly DPDK, even though the underlying architecture could support other network I/O. Right now, it's primarily DPDK based, I would say, and it's a user space process, making it easier to deploy on existing infrastructure. So, you know, it can be a painful process to recompile and deploy new kernel version in a data center. Here, it's a simple process. It's easy to extend. If you want to add your own plugin, it's just a .so file that you have to deploy. So that's really easy to do, and you don't have to break anything and to deploy that. What is important is vector packet processing. So the way we work is the following. There is a vector of packets, and instead of working packet per packet, we work with vectors of packet, making it possible to optimize the use of the iCache. But I will come back to that later. What is important here is if you want to contribute, you can deploy your own plugins. Plugins can be like 200 lines of C code. And what is good is that all the infrastructure required to debug and to operate is already in place. So you save a lot of time, if you build on top of this infrastructure. What are the categories of plugins existing today? Mainly layer 2 and layer 3 processing. But in the future, nothing, forbids you to add like an IDS, So I know people are thinking about extending, adding a new node here that could do like snort, processing, for instance. So you could do more advanced processing, or others. That could be Suricata as well. We could extend that pretty easily. So it's easy to do, and it's easy to customize, both at the data plane level and at the control plane level. Why is it faster? Today, we process packet per packet with this, as you can see, in this small picture. And it's not a nice thing to do, because we tend to execute a large amount of lines of code for each and every packet, which basically means that when you reach the end of the packet processing, your cache is full, and probably you already had some cache misses. And when the next packet will arrive, you will again have to warm up your cache and slow down the full process, making performance quite unpredictable and not optimal. Okay? What we believe is that we need to have predictable performance in software processing. High performance is important, but predictable performance is even more important. And now you will see that later during Maciek's presentation on CSIT. We now have predictable performance with software, which is something really important and really new in this industry. Vector packet processing is the opposite. So instead of processing packet per packet, we manage a bunch of packets per bunch of packets, making it possible to optimize cache usage and optimize performance and optimize predictability. So let's go in some important features I would like to highlight. Very, very important is separation of control plane and data plane. VPP is a pure data plane technology. What it does exposes is not a CLI or a protocol like OpenFlow. It's a C API, and anyone can build its own control plane. You want a CLI? It's easy to develop. You want a protocol, a specific protocol? It's easy to add. So, for instance, if you want to support OpenFlow, one can develop an OpenFlow extension. I'm not sure this is the best idea, but if someone is interested in doing that, you can go. If you want to interoperate with other technologies, that's easy to do. We support different kinds of APIs today, C APIs, Java APIs, Python APIs, making it really easy to integrate in any kind of virtualized or containerized infrastructure. So that's really, really important, and that's really fast. We have made some tests uploading a very large amount of number of routes in the data plane. So this is the kind of figures you can test yourself if you're interested in. So that's really, really important to understand that we are a pure data plane and exposing APIs to write your own control plane and management plane. So performance are very good and very predictable, but you have already seen that. This slide is very important. We see two different kind of, at least two different models for deployment of VPP. So VPP can be used as an underlay virtual switch here when it comes to container. So here you have like this one. You have your virtual switch, you have your containers, which are here. And what we can do here is basically have like regular VTAPs. So from container perspective, you have your VTAP interface, could be in same namespace or different namespace. And then this is in user space. So VPP opens this tap interface. So that's the regular way to do processing with container. But then there is another way to do that, where you could have containers doing the processing themselves. And in that case, instead of having VPP in the host, you can deploy VPP in the containers themselves to have different kind of processing. And in that case, VPP can set up connections from container to container using different kind of interfaces without going to the host, without going to the kernel. And you can have very fast communication with different kind of APIs using shared memory, NetMap. So there are different means, and we'll have people explaining to you that with more details during the week. So we can achieve really high container performance with VPP for this model when in a bump in the wire model, I would say. Features, you have already seen a bunch of them. I will not go into details. We will experiment that tomorrow. But we have already ACL, virtual bridge domain, many bridging things, many IPv4, many IPv6 things. And we are adding many of them, like for ACL, we are right now extending that to support OpenStack security groups models. So we are adding a lot of these things daily. What are the important upcoming features? OpenStack integration, and I will talk more about that later today, but we are actually working not on one OpenStack integration, but two OpenStack integration, one with a regular ML2 driver and another one with a full stack that was already showed by Chris before. Container, we are working on how we can accelerate container communications, how we can integrate that with Kubernetes, all these kind of important things for containers. We are working on a lot of new things for networking and security, new FIB, RIB, transport layer acceleration without going to the kernel. We are working on usability features, making better use of DPDK RSS. So we are adding a lot of new features for the next releases. Next release will include DPDK 16.4, ARM32 support. You will see interesting demo by the end of the week where VPP will run on very small ARM Tegra processors. We support NetMap, we support AF packet, new Python binding. It's, you know, being more and more features every day, so it's hard to follow.